Before the highly anticipated 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie and the unmitigated disaster that was 1993's live-action Super Mario Bros.
I need Koopa coins, you lame house!
Back in 1986, Mario would make his movie debut in a Japanese-exclusive original video animation that would actually set the standard, in some cases likely entirely by coincidence, for both storylines and character designs in many iterations of Mario, not only in cartoons and movies, but also in a multitude of video games to come. Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach is one of the two first films ever based on a video game, alongside Running Boy, Star Soldier's Secret, which was coincidentally released on the same day and went on to achieve slightly lesser success in the decade since. Although long forgotten in favor of the many other strange iterations of Mario over the years, Super Mario's first animated film is actually pretty good, and strangely ahead of its time in terms of what the franchise would go on to become in some truly baffling ways. We open on what feels like an art film, with Mario sitting in a solitary rocking chair in the middle of the night, fully dressed in his signature work uniform, playing a video game about a running boy and slowly losing his mind. Luigi appears in compulsory cartoon sleepwear to offer some tea, but Mario is completely transfixed in his gameplay as we watch Nintendo's most popular character on the other side of the console, playing as an ordinary kid fending off flying hordes of homework running in the opposite direction of the typical platforming path. From the viewer's perspective, we're essentially watching a video game being played backwards, as Luigi gives up on his catatonic twin, and suddenly, the gameplay changes to something much more familiar as Princess Peach runs to escape a horde of Koopa minions. The princess is fighting hard but still getting her ass kicked, and endeavors to launch herself through the TV directly onto Mario, followed by about 1 million creatures exploding out of the television set and into Mario's house. This is already the best Mario origin story ever. Also, I really love this first turtle that just kind of poops out of the television set.
Yeah. Plop.
Bowser appears on the TV set like a fucking horror movie, kidnaps Peach back into the Famicom, and Mario's left alone questioning his now very tenuous grip on reality as our movie rolls into our opening credits with the first of our many totally happening rock and roll songs about rock and roll, Doki Doki Do It, boasting such great lines as and accompanied by some great-looking vignettes giving us a peek at all the amazing visuals to come, including Mario for some reason dressed as a bandito. Although Mario would go on to don a similar outfit in Super Mario Odyssey and the 1990 Game Boy port of Kicks, which also features some other looks that I'm going to assume have since been retired. It's also important to note that in this story, the Mario Bros work at a local grocery, and unlike pretty much every other TV and movie version of Mario ever, there's not a single reference to the duo being plumbers.
I'm gonna clean your pipes!
Mario completely messes up an old lady's grocery order for cake ingredients, distracted by the pendant Peach left behind the night previous. Upon seeing the pendant, Luigi tells of the ancient Toad legend, prophesizing a jewel that would guide its recipients to a land of untold treasure. The brothers call directory assistants for help, which promptly sends a little blue dog to steal the gem and guide the duo down a warp pipe and into the Mushroom Kingdom, which oddly enough is also pretty much exactly what happens in the 1993 movie. There, the Marios encounter an ancient wizard who breaks down the situation of how King Koopa is attempting to take over and turn the Mushroom Kingdom into a brick and lava nightmare, while the brothers continually interrupt him to dance around like idiots. Which honestly is kind of comforting to know that in just about every iteration of the characters, the Mario brothers always mostly just remain a couple of hapless boobs. When the wizard brings up Peach and the horrors spread across the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario snaps out of it as the wizard recounts an ancient prophecy about twins donning, and I quote, sailor caps and overalls, knobby noses, goggling eyes, and cute little mustaches. The wizard tells them of the 3 power-ups they must acquire to stop King Koopa, who must be defeated by the foretold date of Friday the 13th. And our heroes are off on their journey, accompanied by another kickin' rock and roll tune. And this is probably as good a time as ever to talk about Luigi. Luigi's entire motivation and character in this story revolves around finding treasure, to the extent that he even brings old-timey prospecting gear with him on the trek. Although this might seem kind of reductive in contrast to the decades-old lore we're all most familiar with depicting Luigi as a lovable coward, it's kind of interesting in contrast to see him have his own goals and be on more equal footing as his brother instead of the perpetual sidekick, and it's also a neat way to represent the more points and coins oriented approach to the game for players less interested in saving a princess and more into stacking those points. After some great comedy about the grocers starving on their long trek, we meet Koopa's two adorable Goomba goons who promise Luigi some prime eats, and lead to this scene of Mario later discovering him in a mushroom patch laughing like a lunatic. Mario refers to the magic fungus as laughing mushrooms, at which point Luigi immediately goes into a bad trip, and Mario is eventually kidnapped by a giant flying Koopa who tries to feed them to her babies, which are birds? At which point Mario distracts them with more laughing mushrooms, and they all have a really sweet nap together. Ridiculous antics ensue, including Luigi going full Wile E. Coyote off the nest as Mario finds the first power-up, and we get our first encounter with the Mushroom People, who are both serene and adorable in a way that really makes you feel for these little guys, and has never really been seen in any Mario media since. The Goombas dupe our party into a piranha plant patch, which they narrowly escape from after Mario completely fucks himself up trying to get one over on him with Pepper. And this is the point where we meet the real star of the show, storming in, belting out his own name like some deranged Pokemon, Lakitu. Or should I say, they have a hilarious conversation on why Lakitu shouldn't kill and feed the brothers to his plant patch, and Lakitu proceeds to throw his spinies at the duo, which he activates using some complex weather machine from inside his cloud. Mario's saved by a beanstalk that luckily starts growing right up his butt, scares off Lakitu, and with great effort, somehow manages to use what's left of the cloud machine to defeat the Spinies, as our brothers grab the next power-up and journey off to our next adventure, this time stopping for a jarring fourth-wall-breaking product placement for Mario Ramen. We then check in on Peach, taken prisoner in Koopa's castle and joined by Koopa himself, who is 100% just the Ice King.
Why are you always stealing ladies?
I'm going to make one marry me.
Peach almost tricks Koopa into defeat through his own magic, but the king is much too powerful and continues his plans to marry this dainty little human lady. Meanwhile, Mario and Luigi are once again duped into capture by our favorite Goombas as Mario fantasizes about Peach to a love ballad with some weirdly Christian themes, leading to an awkward moment with his Hammer Bro captor, which he very casually plays off with a cool hat trick, before Luigi busts everybody out and into an underwater adventure featuring a cameo by Big Bertha, who oddly enough would go on to also have her own character in the live-action version, although in a slightly different context. The final power-up falls into a clamshell inhabited by some strange Ditto meets Lumpy Space Princess type creature,
Whatever, it's 2009!
prompting Mario to do what any sane person would to persuade the shell to open. Once retrieved, the gang narrowly escapes a giant blooper squid by piloting an old pirate ship out of the ocean and into the sky, making this the first appearance of airships in any Mario media ever. Meanwhile, Koopa is throwing the worst wedding ever. And we get the first ever appearance of Bullcut Koopa. Peach is doing everything she can to stall the ceremony, but never fear, the Mario Bros are here, which leads to some great video game-like sequences and a grim specter of future Mario Maker platforming to come. In his quest for gold, Luigi destroys the entire castle, which leads to our final showdown between Mario and Koopa. The blue dog somehow communicates to Mario that he needs to eat all 3 power-ups to defeat Koopa, which Mario begins to do with the mushroom and flour, before taking a quick break for some Mario-branded rice seasoning and nearly dooming everyone. Thankfully, Luigi reappears with a star power-up to once again save the day, and Mario kicks the ever-loving crap out of Koopa, finishing him off with a move all too familiar to fans of the N64. Everything goes back to normal and our heroes rejoice having won the day. That is, until it's revealed that the dog was actually a prince from the Flower Kingdom, with a real Prince Gumball kind of vibe to him, and is in fact the true fiancé of Princess Peach. Mario is completely heartbroken, but is actually a really cool guy about it. Which is a great thing they carried over to the live-action movie.
She's trying to tell you she can't leave you until she knows where she belongs. And if you loved her, you'd understand that.
The Mario Bros promise to come back and help if there's ever any trouble, and promptly get the f*** out of Dodge, and the old wizard gives a speech about how true love is the greatest power-up of all. As opposed to being a creepy weirdo the princesses, I'm looking at you, Link.
Well, excuse me.
And in the end, we follow our heroes home over the credits, leading to perhaps the strangest similarity between this and the live-action film, in a post-credits comedy stinger decades before this was ever the norm, featuring Koopa and the old lady at the grocery store. The old lady's name is apparently Miss Endless, who will forever remain endless in our hearts as we never see her in the franchise again. As Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach only had a limited theatrical and home video release in Japan and was never distributed outside the country, it's hard to know what impact it really had on future Mario properties for how rare it was to find anywhere until decades later, and the new 4K version from 2021 only existing through the tireless efforts of dedicated Mario archivists. But it's weird to see all these things that would make their way into Mario media over the years very likely coincidentally being born from this one forgotten original video animation. From the giant minions in 3, to the ability to ride Lakitu's cloud in Super Mario World, all the way to the oversized wedding ring gag in Mario Odyssey. The bar for Mario media is pretty low when it comes to TV and movie adaptations.
Patty cake, pasta man. Give me pasta power as fast as you can.
But if you're looking for something fun to watch while gearing up for Mario 2023, it's a great throwback to what Mario was and maybe could have been at one point, and it's readily available to watch online. So grab yourself a bowl of ramen or your favorite rice seasoning, kick back in your favorite gaming rocking chair, and in the words of my new favorite rock song, Doki Doki Do It.
追い返してねえマリオ追い返してマリオやっつけて頑張ってマリオさあ来い来い来いマリオマリオ助けてマリオマリオマリオマリオ助けてマリオ助けて早く助けに来てマリオもうすぐマリオが助けに来てくれるわマリオ早く来てあマリオマリオマリオマリオここよ助けてマリオ